Whether you are a student who's trying to explore his or her future career possibilities, or a recent graduate who's tired of having these short-term, short contract jobs at the university, you may be wondering what other career possibilities there are outside academia. And I know it can be quite confusing and quite overwhelming to think about these careers. I was in the exact same situation when I graduated, and I was trying to understand where I could possibly use my skills, if not at the university. And two things are very important before I move on to the actual research related positions and jobs. There are two very important things to consider. And one of these things is that you don't necessarily have to look for jobs within your particular narrow and focused field. So it's very important to understand that. So just because you are specializing, your research was about a particular topic, does not always mean that you have to look for a job within this very narrow niche, because it can be very difficult. Instead, as I'm sure you have heard many times before, you have to understand and acknowledge all the life skills, all the transferable skills that you have gained as a student, and apply these skills in jobs that you may have not really thought about before. But I'll mention this and the importance of these skills and how to translate them very soon in this video. And the second consideration, the second thing to understand, and this is also something I have already talked about in one of my previous videos when I talked about a mind shift needed to leave academia, is that by leaving academia, by deciding to follow a different career, you're not becoming a failure or a failed PhD student or failed master's student. It is very, very important to understand that, because this is this mind shift of if I'm doing a higher education, a higher degree in higher education, I have to have a job in higher education, is one of the most common obstacles to getting a job. Because you may feel like if you look for a different job outside the university, you failed. You basically failed, so you wasted a lot of time and a lot of money on getting your degree, only to leave academia and look for jobs elsewhere. But it is very important to understand that this is simply not true. Nowadays, academia and the academic world is so competitive that only a small percentage of graduates will in fact remain in academia, will remain in positions at the university. So other jobs, other types of jobs outside the university are not even, you can't even call them alternative careers anymore, because they are in fact predominant. So in a way, the alternative career path is in fact to remain at the university. All the other career paths are very common, and the sooner you understand that, the better, because this will also give you some time to prepare. So as I said before, when you are studying for your degree, you're not only becoming an expert in this particular field or this particular research topic. Of course, you are becoming such an expert, but it's also important to realize that it's almost an off product of your real education, because in this real education you are gaining so much more than simply this expertise in this particular research topic. You are becoming somebody who knows how to educate him or herself, how to work with limited supervision, how to search for information. You're becoming somebody who's proactive and a critical thinker. So there are plenty other skills that you are gaining, and they are very important. You can apply these skills in a very big number of different jobs that when you look at them first, you may not even think, you may not even have thought that this is in fact something that you may be doing after your degree. But in this video, to narrow this down, to narrow these opportunities down, I want to focus strictly on research jobs. So let's imagine that you are into research, you're enjoying maybe doing research, maybe you have been told that you're good at doing research. So this may be one of the main reasons that you're still you still prefer to become an academic simply because you enjoy doing research. You don't want to do something else. And this is something that was true for myself when I was completing my PhD study. So again, I did not think at the time that there are many jobs that where you can utilize and apply your research skills, but actually there are plenty. So this is something that I want to discuss in this video. But before I discuss the specific jobs, you also need to understand, as I said before, that this is a completely different world. So outside the university, the world, the market, the job market is completely different, and there are completely different rules. So you will have to understand these rules. You will have to understand what the employers are looking for. So you may even, once you watch the full video and maybe you pick some of the jobs or you become interested in exploring some of the jobs I mentioned, a good idea would be to get on one of the job sites, the sites with different job advertisements. Look through these advertisements and look what the employers are looking for. So you can think about how to position yourself in that market. And it's best to start early, because now if you're a student, for example, you may either start thinking about how to translate the current skills into the employer's language, or how to upgrade your CV, how to gain an additional something that the employers seem to be looking for in this type of job. This is an extremely important advice, and this is something I did not do when I was studying, and something I regret not having done. So it's very important again. So look at what they're looking for, look at your current CV or what you have been doing at the university, and think whether you can offer some of your skills and some of your experiences, or whether you can translate them into this employer's language. And in most cases you'll find that you can in fact translate your current experience and your current skills into that language. But first, what do I mean by translating the skills into the employer's language? So during the PhD, as I said, you're gaining so many different skills, and usually you're involved in so many activities that, and you should not ignore these activities. You can later present these experiences in a way that is attractive to your potential employer. So think about, for example, attending conferences, something that we often do as students. So of course, if you decide, for example, to look for a job in the industry and in some company not related to university, you may think, why would they need my experience of going to conferences? But there are so many things that you can that you gained from going to conferences. So of course, communication skills if you presented, then maybe some networking skills if you are talking to people. So gaining new contacts is very important, because communication is of course one of the most common job requirements. So communication skills, both written and oral. So of course, for your written communication skills as a student, as somebody writing their thesis, this is quite obvious as an evidence of written communication skills. And there are many other examples. So if you organize some kind of an event, or anything for students, a small workshop, a small conference, some group for exchanging ideas, this is again evidence of your management skills and people management and this kind of thing. So it's something that employers are looking for. So it's a matter of turning your current experiences into what they are looking for. So again, even if you think about the whole process of writing your PhD, of being a student, there is so much that you can find in that process, so many skills. So even again, time management, working with limited supervision, independent thinking, independent work, working to deadlines, and dealing with stress. So again, there are plenty of things that you can, plenty of skills and experiences that you can present. I will link in the description to one of my blog posts where I actually talked about boosting your career prospects this way. So thinking about what you have done and how you can present it on your CV or in your cover letter. And I give real examples from my job applications and how I presented my skills. So you can have a look at that link in the description. So remember about this part that I mentioned. Remember about doing your research, doing your homework, exploring the options, checking what kind of skills the employers are looking for, thinking of how you can present your skills in their language. So now let's go through some research related jobs. So as I said, just because you want to leave academia does not mean that you cannot do research, because everything nowadays is based on research. And every company, even restaurants, quite often a lot of decisions, a lot of things are based on research, on findings from research. So firstly, you can consider working in the industry. So in places where which traditionally are not associated with research. So they are not research companies, they are not companies that advertise themselves as a company doing research, but rather a company. It can be something related to finances, business, economics, banks, just a big company that requires research in order to function properly. So here, examples of such positions may include, for example, a market research analyst, a business development consultant, competitive intelligence analyst, operations research analyst. Some of these may be new to you, but overall do explore the descriptions maybe for these careers, but all of them have to do with improving performance of a company in one way or another. So they are about either researching the processes within the company, so trying to improve their performance, their operations, or researching the competition, researching the market, researching the customers. So one of these things. In general, as I said, they do aim to improve the overall performance, either the internal, so to speak, performance, so within the company, or external. So as I said, researching the competition, trying to understand how to enter a given market. So this kind of thing. So all these companies, as I said, their decisions and their operations are strongly based on research. And do not worry that you may not have expertise in this particular field, because this is the first thing that usually comes to your mind. So you're thinking, I know nothing about finances or about banking. But quite often, what they really value you for are your research skills. So of course, they recognize that you have no previous experience in this industry. And they have this experience, but what they don't have is your research experience. So they are willing to take on this skilled researcher, understanding that he or she doesn't really know that much about their particular niche or field or industry. So this is usually not a problem. They have people who are qualified in that industry, and these people have their roles in their company, but they are quite often looking for researchers, people skilled in research. And again, your higher education degree is the best evidence that you are a highly skilled researcher. So as I said, these are the examples of workplaces that you would not normally associate with research. They are just doing their thing, but at the same time they are looking for researchers. So it's very important to explore these keywords and these positions that I mentioned, and look for these positions. So use these in your search for jobs, because otherwise you wouldn't know about these positions. You wouldn't even be able to find them. And and traditionally, what you tend to think of in terms of research jobs are research associates, research assistants. And if you search for these terms, these keywords, all you'll find are academic positions. So you have to be aware of these other options, so that you can you can use these keywords in your search. Another one that I really like is user researcher or UX researcher. If you look on my channel, if you look to the playlist called Researchers After Work, I did an interview with a user researcher. So this whole interview is about user research. Basically, user research is research of a given product, or of the consumers or the clients' experiences with this product. So any kind of product. Quite often this relates to software and hardware. So a company wants to release a given app or a given software, or maybe they want to develop a website, and what you do, you have to research how practical their website is, or how practical the product is, or how the clients, the future clients experience this product. Is it difficult to use? Is it easy to use? What are the challenges? So everything. So basically this is research of a given product. And I really like this, as you'll see from that interview. I even considered switching careers and doing this user research, because I just like how practical this kind of research is. So it's everything that I like about research without all the academic regulations. So it's strictly oriented at the goals, at the outcomes. So your job is to see what people think about this product, and this is why I really like this idea of being a user researcher. And another one of my favorites, and this is another one that I actually considered moving into, is a sports performance analyst. This is a great job, especially if you're into sports. I think you have to be into sports to actually enjoy it. So basically, this is a person analyzing all various kinds of aspects of a performance of a given team, or sometimes performance of individual players in that team. And again, there are many different branches of this work, but even one of them are the people that are sitting at every football match. You may not even know that, or any other sports. I'm just talking about football as an example. There are people who are watching every second of that game and just inputting things and putting numbers. So the simplest aspect of that are all the statistics. If you watch sports, you know that you have live statistics for everything that happens. So that's one thing. But what is more important is that they analyze all these things, they gather this data, and later on they analyze it and they present it to the coaches, to the team. So basically, in a nutshell, it's somebody who analyzes how a given team performs, including individual team members, in order to optimize the performance, to improve the performance. So all the big teams nowadays, they are employing these researchers. Usually it's more than one person, it's a whole team. And then they have these meetings, and you as this researcher are presenting the results to the coaches. They are thinking about these results, and they are trying to organize, to plan their strategies and how their team performs around your results. So as I said, to me it's a really fascinating job, and I know it's possible to get apprenticeships in these positions. So maybe if there is a local sports team where you live, you may think about it. You may even volunteer there and just kind of try to understand what this job is about, if you're lucky, of course, if they need you as a volunteer. But this is another research position that traditionally I wouldn't say it's one of the most jobs most commonly associated with research. So in addition to these jobs for companies, research jobs for companies that are not traditionally thought of as research-related companies, then you have a number of different positions in companies that are actually specializing in research but are not related to academia. So you have these research agencies everywhere, independent agencies. They do research either for themselves or for other companies or for the government. So again, something you may want to search in your area. So there are plenty of these small research hubs and these small research companies. They're quite often advertising for research analysts, for qualitative researchers, for quantitative researchers, for statisticians, for interviewers. So you need to have a look into that. And then you have these large nationwide companies and organizations that provide, gather and deliver data, usually large data sets related to statistics of a given country. So, what are the attitudes of people in the UK towards this or that issue. So I think in the UK you have NatCen, which is short for National Centre for Statistics or something like that. Then more specifically in Scotland you have ScotCen, which is Scottish Centre for Statistics. So these are companies, they constantly advertise for people. They constantly need, like I said, interviewers as well, and people who are into statistics, but not only quantitative positions, so qualitative research as well. So another thing that you may want to explore. There is not just one single organization for the whole country. Usually there is a number of these organizations, so again, just something you have to look into. Of course, you have even larger companies for the whole European Union or the whole Europe or a given part of the world. So again, something to explore. Then you have governments. The government always has plenty of research positions. Again, plenty of job ads for researchers to either explore their little projects, so some social research, some trends, some beliefs in their communities and in this society, but also expanding internationally and for example research into migration, international migration or migration into this country. So as I said, there are plenty of jobs there. So if you look at for example the Scottish government's website, there are always plenty of research studies, and I mean plenty. So there's research into young smokers, there's research into people who left prison, into people in prison. So basically every aspect of life in this country is usually being researched. So this is definitely something to look for. And additionally, as a student, there is usually a lot of programs specifically for students. So for example, 3 months of apprenticeship or volunteering work, so all kinds of work. So it's also worth exploring these possibilities while you're still at the university. And quite often the small research firms that I mentioned before, they do some work for the government as well. So it's all really related. Then another option are all different kinds of consulting businesses. So again, usually relates to research. There are businesses that do consulting for other businesses. So whether it's about again some kind of performance of this business. Sometimes there are smaller scale studies, for example, of employees' attitudes in a given company, what's wrong in that company, or why are people leaving it, or why people are not happy. So, as I said before, in every company there's plenty opportunities for research, and you may either be employed by that company and do that research, or you may be employed by some kind of consulting agency and you'll be working there, so doing research, maybe gathering data or maybe just analyzing data. So all kinds of different positions there. And then so now we are making a transition towards more independent work, because in addition to be working for a research consulting or consulting company, you may want to become an independent research consultant. This one, of course, is a little bit more demanding, because you have to think about branding and how to actually start this business, how to raise people's awareness of your business and awareness of what you do. So it's a long topic, but this is something that many people do decide to do, and again, something that you may, especially if you are a student, just something you may start experimenting with. And the same thing relates to generally working online and freelancing. So as you may know, I have been doing this for a little while now, and freelancing, specifically on Upwork, which is a freelancing platform, is the majority, the main part of what I do and what I have been doing for the last 2 years. So this is my full-time job, and I'm happy, and I can tell you that I earn more freelancing than I earned and I would earn at the university. So I'm not telling you this to brag about how much I earn, but simply to for you to understand that this can be a full-time career. So basically offering your services online. So focusing specifically on research, you can be consulting, as I mostly do. So advising people on planning their studies, looking at the research proposal, this kind of thing, supporting them with data analysis or teaching them to analyze data, all kinds of different things. So again, this does require a lot of effort. You have to think about how to develop your brand. It's probably too long a topic to discuss in this video, but just so you know, I also started a new channel. So this channel is specifically about research. I started a new channel that is more about developing your brand, so selling your skills online and turning your knowledge into profit. So in that other channel, I specifically talk about Upwork, so the platform that I'm using, how to start there, how to set up your profile to attract customers, and then also I'll move on to other things and other platforms where I make money. So and I do use Udemy for my courses and a couple of other platforms. So like I said, if you are interested in that kind of topic, do follow the link in the description. The link will take you to this new channel where I generally focus on explaining how to develop your career as a student, as a former student, or anyone who wants to develop an online career. So these are all research related jobs that come to my mind at the moment, but of course there are many more, and what I want you to take from this video is that sometimes you have to look in places where normally you would not really expect to find work, especially work related to research or to your academic skills. And the other thing I want you to take from this video is what I said at the beginning, that not to work at the university does not equal failure, having failed to work at the university. Hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please like the video, share it with somebody who may need it, or comment under the video if you have any ideas regarding other jobs that I did not mention, or maybe you have some insights or experiences working in other non-academic jobs.